What's one thing your parents told you growing up that you completely disagree with now? My mom used to tell me that you could tell everything you needed to know about a person by looking at their shoes. She'd say it like it was a universal truth, something handed down from generations before her. Shoes tell the whole story, she'd insist, peering down at strangers' feet in grocery store lines, on the bus, even in church. It wasn't just the brand or the style. She claimed the scuffs, the laces, the wear patterns revealed character. Clean shoes meant discipline. Worn-out soles meant laziness. Expensive leather meant success. Dirty sneakers meant trouble. I grew up believing this without question. When I was about 10, we went to a neighborhood barbecue. I remember her nudging me when a man walked in wearing old, faded work boots. "See?" she whispered. "That's someone who doesn't care about himself." The guy ended up being one of the friendliest people I'd ever met. He played catch with the kids, brought extra food for the grill, and made everyone laugh with stories about his job. But even as I enjoyed his company, I kept glancing at his boots, wondering how someone so careless could be so kind. By high school, I had internalized her rule so deeply that I started judging people without even realizing it. When new kids came to school, my first instinct was to glance down at their feet. One boy in my history class wore the same beat-up Converse every day, the sides fraying, the rubber peeling off. I assumed he was messy, maybe irresponsible. It turned out his family couldn't afford new shoes, and he was working evenings at a gas station to save up for college. That realization sat in my stomach like a stone. The turning point came in my early 20s. I had just moved to a new city, working my first real job, and I didn't have much money. My own shoes were secondhand from a thrift store, and they were starting to look rough. One day, I met a woman at a cafe. She was dressed casually, her hair tied back, and she had on a pair of sneakers, so worn the fabric had holes near the toes. If my mom had been there, she would have made some comment under her breath, but we ended up talking for hours. She was a nurse, working long shifts, and those shoes had carried her through night after night of caring for patients. She told me she kept them because they were the most comfortable pair she owned. I couldn't stop thinking about how my mom's rule would have written her off entirely. It was around then that I realized how wrong the whole idea was. Shoes don't tell you about someone's kindness, intelligence, or resilience. They tell you if someone can afford replacements, if they work a job that tears them up, if they value comfort over style. Sometimes they just tell you what was on sale that week. I remember visiting home not long after that and catching my mom doing it again, glancing at someone's feet, making a quiet remark. Instead of agreeing, I told her about the nurse, about the boy in high school, about my own thrift store shoes. She brushed it off, saying, well, maybe sometimes it's still true. But it didn't matter anymore. I'd stopped seeing the world through her lens. Now when I meet someone, I make a point of not looking at their shoes right away. I look at their face, their eyes, the way they speak, how they make people around them feel. The shoes are just something they happen to be wearing. The irony is, my mom's own shoes aren't anything special these days. She wears the same worn slippers around the house and the same sneakers to the store. If her rule still applied, I don't know what story they'd tell, but I do know it wouldn't be the whole truth.